Welcome to Coastside Poetry. Thanks to those of you who've zoomed in and those who are watching on YouTube. We meet either physically or virtually on the second Tuesday of every month to celebrate spoken poetry. I'm Diane Lee Moomey, and Steve Long and I are your hosts this evening. Our featured poet event is being recorded and streamed live onto YouTube as we speak, so anyone can look at it later. We'll be posting the link on our website, coastsidepoetry.org. This evening, we welcome Bay Area poet Corey Weinstein. Corey's poetry has been published in the Ekphrastic Review, Abandoned Mine Poetry, Visitant, Vistas and Byways, New Verse News, and many, many others. He also wrote a singspiel, Erased Babi Yar, which was performed in 2016 during the 75th anniversary of the 1941 massacre at Babi Yar. He's a retired homeopathic physician and a longtime prisoners' rights and human rights advocate. In his free time, he plays the clarinet in a local jazz band, his synagogue choir, and woodwind ensembles. Please welcome Corey Weinstein.
Thank you very much, Diane. I am really excited to be here tonight and read for Coastside Poetry. And grateful to this group. It's sometimes hard for a young poet to get some airtime, and this group has taught me a lot, inspired me a lot, and carried me through the pandemic with poetry in a wonderful way. And thank you, Diane, for the kind introduction. Let me kind of continue that introduction with this poem about growing up in Chicago called Christian Naming Day. We were three gilded ghetto boys, sidewalk strolling at the edge of our kosher patch. Boys barely in bloom with chin, pit, and groin fuzz, playfully tempting and failing the 10 p.m. curfew. Giddy from a preteen evening chatter at Fran's place, or was it pinball ding-ring bounces at Alba Bowl? We never saw a cop walk on our streets. But here at the edge of the Jews, he emerged, big and blue and armed with gun and stick. Bubbly boys paid no mind until, "Hey, you three, stop. Don't you know it's 10 o'clock? We responded according to our innocence. "It's okay, officer. We're just going home from a friend's." After all, we three were birthed here, safe from the final solution, protected from its mention, held in the victor's embrace. Parents had dug out of the old West Side tenements to modest prosperity of Hollywood Park. Peterson Elementary stood empty on high holy days. Bryn Mawr Avenue stores catered to our Ashkenazi tastes. Tanya's Deli with the best lox and bagel for Sunday morn. Notebook and pencil in hand, Big Blue Man asked, "Okay, boys, what are your names and where do you live?" Smiles gone, flop sweat dripping, we answered, Jeffrey Friedman, Neil Wishnick, Corey Weinstein. Big Blue scowled and yelled in my direction, "No, kid, what is your Christian name?" Stunned to silence, mind racing, no answers coming, glanced to friends, found mouths agape, glazed stares. "Don't sass me, boy. Give me your Christian name." How could I have known a Christian name was legally required to walk the edge of safety? Thank you. Some of you know that I'm an amateur clarinet player and play whenever I can. And this next poem is about an incident when I was in a klezmer band playing in San Jose. We were doing the old people's circuit, as we called it. We called it the Alte Cocker circuit. So you'll hear that Yiddish word in this. Nigun trio on stage. A jarring groan, a chesty bellow wailed my left ear in the middle of Tumbalalaika, my clarinet noodling around Jack's bass-tinged baritone, a Fink in name only, 88 himself, we three doing the alta cocker circuit. Setup is easy, Jack on house mic, me and Fred acoustic. Harder for the gathered who roll in, limp in, clack and clang in on every assistive device, accompanied by low murmurs. Attendants settle their charges, fluff pillows, lock wheels, all to hear the sweet music of an interrupted people, my people, Yiddish music. Tunes, stones skip to us like glittered flat-flaked mica flipped across a black blood pond, sending ripples to the edge of this time and this hall to a moan, not quite howl, from a rolling bed. Head thrust back, mouth wide open, lips groping, yearning for words, struggling through the muck of apoplexy. Bedman, without vocals, for 3 years, not a word nor weep. Jack, with grace, effortlessly figures the mic cord and springs bedside for an ugly and transcendent duet. 53 excruciating seconds, me irritated, till vocal magic, alchemy of memory and melody that casts aside walkers and canes for dancers' new legs, joints greased, ears twitched, brain sleepers jolted awake, and Jack, embracing the grotesque, waltzing with bedman, tumbala, 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 like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, finding harmony in tragedy, joy in memory, love in spontaneous compassion. And then there's the music of just rhythm and rhyme, which certainly poetry gives us lots of opportunity to apply. This is based on a story about Reb Simcha Bunim, an 18th century rabbi who carried these exact pieces of paper in his pockets, called washte pantum, a pantum. A crumpled note from my right pocket, this whole world is made for me. In pocket left was found the balance phrase, I am just dust and ashes. This whole world is made for me, an easy pin on which to lynch, but I am just dust and ashes seems more like me at this old age. An easy pin on which to lynch these wise and tattered paper scraps seems more the truth at my old age, like crinkled skin and careless creases. These wise and tattered paper scraps keep me on the balance beam, like crinkled skin and careless creases, futures past just in this wink. I teeter on the balance beam, swish and sway from grave embrace. Futures past just in this wink, past futures stumble uncertainly. Swish and sway from grave embrace, alert required for simple things. Past futures stumble uncertainly, just avoid the fracture fall. Alert required for simple things, this dust cannot be swept away. Just avoid the fracture fall, ashes from a life well burned. This dust cannot be swept away, made for me a facile embrace. Ashes from a life well burned will scatter over heaven's gate. Thank you very much. Let's stay with music, and sometimes it's just watching a great performance. So this is a poem about Chris Potter, a wonderful jazz tenor sax player who I saw last year at the SF Jazz Center in San Francisco. Chris Potter on stage. Soft-spoken, modest in dress and demeanor, his sax leads a quartet with piano, bass, and drums. Bottomless pool of talent, ingenuity, and grace. Tributaries of ecstatic turbulence gush over the edge. waterfalls of delicacy and power, passion and suspension, notes shimmer and spray, now here, then there, ebullient, a dance, a splash that sparkles and joins, barrel roll and rush tumble, annotate harmonic movement, hurtle forward a music's form, boundaries shattered, coherence found in long lines, sharp bursts, high cries, surging from notion to emotion, ardent, ravenous. His yearning sax reveals resolution out of confusion, ferocious speed, precise, lucid, each note with purpose, riding a river of creative history and compelling present, rushing to ears a soundscape of thick entanglement. Piano responds to bass, bass to drum, to sax, to piano, back, forth, round, round, this way, that, with meaning, with respect and reverence for the expert each, ears wide open to other minds, fingers, feelings. Now a smile, a wink, an appreciative guttural groan. Roiling waters mix the band's music into an incredible now, flows to the enfolding river, nourishes the hungry delta, merges into Mother Ocean, where it all begins and ends. And sometimes it's a melody. Oh, yeah, we love those melodies. And sometimes it's the words, the lyrics. And sometimes it's just the beat. So I will assert with this poem, meter matters. It's all in beats to the bar, 2 or 4. 2 beats, click off, tick tock, tick tock. Ah, it's 2/4. Say at each one, te, as in testify. 4 beats, click off, tick te, tock te, tick te, tock te. It's 4 beats to the bar, 4/4. Sing motherless child in 2/4. Some feel motherless, some feel motherless. Long way from home, long way from home. Forsaken tragedy of slave times, tearful 2-beat dirge, each foot in front of the other, trudge through. Like I'm almost done, like I'm almost done. Grievous gloom of children sold away, a mother's breast cramped yearning, singing the straight truth of misery. Sing motherless child in 4/4. Have room for the balm of the blues, syncopation that relieves the toil, lifts the foot with a backbeat, turns a slog into a shuffle, weeps with a nuance of hope, hints at a smile of, got through this before, demands sidewise duck and grind, a dance, not a march, not a slog. You won't hear a blues in 2/4. And other times it's just a mashup. Let me just get rid of something here on the screen. Where is that? Oh, there. Just a second. Thank you. I keep on getting those chat things popping up. Thank you for all comments in the chat, by the way. Sometimes it's a mashup. So I was out with a friend playing the Brahms Clarinet Sonata, a wonderful, emotional piece, with a piano player down on the peninsula. And I drove back and stopped at our local beer hall to have a drink. And then this happened. Brahms Clarinet Sonata at the Ale House. Earworms wriggle into minds, hungry passions of longing, pulse of breath beckons, surge, then ease, surge, ease, not quite a sigh, rise and fade, like an open-ended diamond, gentle swell enduring to breathy wisp. Throat songs from a horn, reeds and lips vibrate, tasty licks deeply felt, dip into the schmaltz, rapturous aspiration. Everyone knows yearning, love, mom's cooking, money, a warm hug. Foot tapping tempo leaves toes in mid-air. Regular bar lines blur to a fresh pulse, a movable feast of rhythm, intrigue of changing meter, a dance mutates to a prance. Only Jamil can body juggle while waiting tables and jiving. He captures each revision in the moment, shoulder torque, hip twist, head turn, across the bar line to the bar, whiskey sour and wine in hand, deftly placed in perfect time and timing. Surge again and fade, once, twice, again, more, too much to bear, yet again, ebb and flow of a heart's want, push, release of a need implored. So that's all very nice. And I like to read poetry about music. But then there's war. And there's lots of war that I'm deeply moved by at the present moment. And so the next two poems will be about those places. The first one is a poem about a flower, the Viola mirabilis, the common wild violet of the Ukraine. I ordered those seeds from I guess it was a Spanish company, who sent, after going through the ag department and 16 forms, I got a little tiny pack of seeds and intended to grow them in my backyard where violets can grow in the shade of one of our bushes. But that didn't happen. In fact, nothing happened, except this poem. When violets refuse to sprout. I did not want to care for the bloodlands of our 1,000 years. Family chased from twice, last in 41. All who remained, their remains burnt and ground into fertile soil. I didn't want to weep when the refugee orchestra played homespun symphonies of longing, of courage to resist the great bear of my born-in, wistful memory. Some people seek their roots. I want flowers, native from Ukraine, tonics for my jumpy, aging heart. Wild violets we were sipping when sirens screeched, doors burst open. Thunderous crash scatters to ground seeds such as these sterile specks, gone to everywhere, to nowhere, elsewhere, just not there, to here, wiping tears of, I don't know what. What is where? Place who? I have no country. No place has me. I am in, not from, not of. My family manifest in Chicago. I don't belong here, but in a place not yet created. See you there. Just don't go back to Kishinev. My wife and I were on holiday recently on a wonderful ship and cruising around, and it was just glorious. And I brought a couple of library books. That was dangerous, being on a ship with library books. What would happen if we sunk? But I did anyway, very bravely, and read two books about Rachel Corrie. Rachel Corrie was a young woman who was murdered by the Israeli Defense Forces as she nonviolently tried to prevent a home demolition in Gaza in 2003. This one's called, of course, this is, about the war now. Sunday afternoon band concert in memory of Rachel Corrie, 1979 to 2003. Bustle of get ready gives way. Rustle of music settles in place. Bandmaster raises a ferocious baton. First movement downbeat, a murderous dance. Israel plays its purity of arms, tarantella. Bass drum blasts a 2,000-pound beatdown, symphony of orchestrated random dread. There is no confusion in this terror fugue. Force them south, then north, then nowhere. Chase first here, then there, then nowhere. Flutes flutter sounds, killer drone fire. Heard the innocents' blood trails behind. A cannon of cannons follow in lockstep. Trombone thrusts smash hospitals, homes. Clarinets mock heroes of feeble return fire. Tubas blow out power, level walls, greenhouses. Open mouth, hollow-eyed, taut skin, death mask stretched across face bones of kids panting their last moments of torment. Savage brute builds a crescendo of public relations, rushes a coda of lies, not food, not water. American minds listen, nod, strongly nod, object weakly. Ignore youth, sing chorales of death breath. More than weary, Gaza abandoned. Death penetrates, infuses its inevitability. Hopeless, each moment's hazard breaks spirits. Bells held high, trumpets blare the song of the day. Double-tongued, triumphant, religious nationalism. There is only one liquid for Gazans this year. Bloody endgame. Liquidation of the Gaza ghetto. Now or later. Thank you. Thank you very much, and I apologize to anyone who was insulted by my use of musical instruments in that horrible imagery. That's why I let the clarinet do the dirty work too. But sometimes, actually, it's just music outside my front door. And this one's called Stick Walking Rhythm and Blues. My front stoop is a rear box for street music, orchestrating motifs of life as I lock the front door, clunking down the 13 stone steps. Walking sticks keep me right straight. A hearty hi hello to a busy, bustling neighbor. We don't speak. 7,000 miles between our tongues. Backyard fence and dog distress keep us terse. But old Joe's Arkansas drawl and Ann's Hong Kong four-tone bounce off house fronts till obscured by rumble buses grinding up the easy grade. Car windows bellow funk, pop, hip-hop, and I don't know what, with booming bass that thuds my chest into rhythms not my own. Scritch scratch means skittering crab walk lady is newspaper scraping up the gutter grime, sweeping it into that ragged paper bag. So sad. Less desperate than last year, better dressed. Unabashed, she performs the rites of a soul's obsession. Cleaning what? Straightening this world, her mind, her conscience, doing her best with no word, no complaint, no context. A broom would straighten her up off the ground to a measure of dignity, or just my dignity that is abused. Finally, I blurt out, "Thank you, dear. Thank you for cleaning up our street." Finding her genial smile not crabby at all. Turning west, the wind forces a zipper up. Turbulent marine layer, cold creeping my skin. Stalk thin, barely there man, borne by the gusts, gracefully glides in for our white-beard chat. He winces, saying, "Pain is a whip, solving itself. We laugh, asking for a better lesson or teacher. Turtle doves, coo-ah, cuckoo, begins a morning's feathered mixtape. Ravens scolding gurgle croak sets the bottom for the house finch's tree-a-lee ski-wee, ski-wee, ski that swoops up to merge with blackbird's screeching metallic offering. Everyone's springing for this season's best nesting note. Sticks huff puff me past these plume pretensions. Morning beer lives in driveway, slurs his greeting, slumps into a rolling desk chair and fades. His, the outdoor barely housed blues, tunes my day to the despair of our times. I think I'm having a senior moment. Ah, yes. And this sonnet is that moment. I wrote this one inspired by a little quote from Lawrence Durrell, the writer. Old age is a smack for Tilly, who drank herself to death. It was old El Durrell who said it first, but Grandma Tilly was first to me. How odd for he and she to say it so. When old, they said, old age an insult be. Were they too deaf to hear the siren song, the moan, the silent wail up from the void? To know that we are merely loaned this world and payment taken finally at our end. Stout youth just leap o'er life's speed bumps, while mid-age needs great care to dodge the fall. The aging find each bump a certain lump, and life a dizzy game of brinksmanship. Perhaps a few sign up for what they get, but many hide in fear, and all will end. Be it slow decay, a shrinking death, or a flash of steel, a bloody sword descends. It is from flesh and sweat we all are born, and from our blood and flesh we will be torn. Let's see. Diane, you'll raise a hand if I'm going on too long. Here's just a fun one for fun. That's what did the fellow last week say? A palate cleanser. For Hondo Rose. I'm looking for a lovely jar of Vaseline, something elegant, small, easy to pack and ply, used at my instant need to grease my cork, so that I am made ready when my needs arise. I come to her quietly, anticipating ecstasy, lips eagerly placed, soft and strong, tongue ready for fast, gentle touch just right. She vibrates to my breath, warms to touch, fingers tickle the keys to her joy just right. My mouth, my tongue, my fingers enliven her. I tremble in her response. Her voice sings, coos like a dove, with ravens squawk, jays scold, trills like a sparrow. I am lost in her whirling harmonics of pleasure. We unite as only a right union can offer. Rich sound, perfectly tuned, easy keys, my Rossi rosewood B-flat clarinet. Okay, I got two more for you if allowed. Speaking of the backyard and looking out the window, and we referenced a raven there in the previous poem. So let's think about this one. The raven roosts. With a flap and whoosh he alights to rule from the clothesline pole, his shield casting a shadow of gloom on the bush branch that once held the quick morning sun finch, whose seven-tone jazz riff played wee-wee, see-wee, dee-wee-dee, answered by the unseen, trading sevens, hoo-hoo, wee-wee, see-wee-dee. Sweet memory of morning chirps, the flash of red and yellow breasts serving up my teacup of jazz, morphing week by week, slow improv, the feathered finch band, my ecstasy. No longer do Dizzy and Miles peck into our sunflowers, snack on our avian apple tree bounty. Now the flap whoosh raven holds court. His rusty gait says, haw, haw. The CH is of Baruch, a blessing, not the CH of church, but Baruch, that the polite find hard to say when not clearing their throat in private. Haw, haw, obsidian feathered beast squares my morning phonic mirth, dominates the airways of flight, flies like herons, gulls, eagles, all. I used to love the raven, till he ate my morning jazz. Thank you so much. And I'd like to end this reading with a lyrical poem based on a quotation that my rabbi used in a sermon of hers some years ago in Yom Kippur. And it contains a spoken song within it that is from Albert Einstein. Rumi's Yom Kippur. She just appeared among us, joining one day, an ordinary day, saying, ours is not a caravan of despair. We who are shunned trudge this heavy mile, each step pulled out of the grasping muck, a swamp that moves forward with us, collecting souls such as mine, gambler, thief, rambler, grifter, runaway, hooker, anarchist, vet, bagman, crazy, refugee, killer, slogging, dragging from parents, police, privation, damnation, our worst days trapped in this frozen moment. She sang to comfort us. Oh, how strange this life is, just here for a little while, not knowing what we're doing here. Oh, how strange this life is, seeming to define a goal, searching for a proper role. And she sang, there is one thing we know, for the sake of others, folks, smiles that bring our happiness, bound to them by sympathy, so many souls unknown, life built on their labor, those alive, those passed along. I must strive to give back some, give in return this song. And she said, amid our oxygen-bound carbon and nitrous-fixed hydrogen, light is the essential in each of us. And she saw, in the vet's lap, the fever head he soothes. From the killer's heart come words of comfort. The grifter hears the thief's confession warmly. Women of the night soothe boys of the street. They clean my boots when I am weary. We pray, sing, laugh, weep, buy and sell. Pass the cup, bowl, bottle, the spoon, if you know what I mean. Beg, bury, limp, and carry. She sang through the dark each night. We, broken shards of God's first glow, upon the gleam our souls take flight, loved for who we are, not what we do, dragging not to, but with the light. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you so much, Corey. You put together just a gorgeous, powerful set. Thank you. Shall we unmute and make loving noises of appreciation?
Bravo! That was wonderful.
Wow. Wonderful. Well, that's going to be a hard act to follow.
Corey, do you have books out?
I have many sent in, but none out.
Okay, I understand. That's a shame. You really deserve to be published.
Thank you very much, Bob.
Wonderful. That was amazing. Thank you so much. It was moving, and also the humor and the music It was just spectacular. Thank you so much. You've embiggened my evening, as they say on The Simpsons.
I had a good coach for this, which was Diane.
Ah,
Corey, you had me every moment, every line. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.
I wrote it in the chat, but I have to say your delivery is fantastic, Corey. Thank you so much. The musicality comes through in your words, in your voice, in your theme. Really amazing performance. Thank you.
Yeah, and I remember your reading at the Unitarian Church when they had the wonderful program to save the Jenin Theater in Gaza, and you were compassionate then. Your poems are compassionate now, and they're full of music and melody, yeah, and also love. And I love that about your poetry. Thank you.
No, you apologized for using the musical instruments in a piece about war, but as you were reading it, I thought, this is what pierces the armor. You know, it's not a bludgeon, it's the dart that goes right into the heart. Thank you for that.
Thank you all. It means a lot to me, what this group thinks, that's for sure.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you again so much, and we'll stop recording in a moment. Those of you in the Zoom room, please stay online if you'd like to take part in the open mic. And thanks to all our YouTube listeners. We know you are many and mighty, and thank you for being the felt, though unseen, part of our program tonight. Please tune in for our next regular Co-Side Poetry event on Tuesday, July 9th, when we'll welcome North Bay poet Blake Moore as our feature. So thanks so much for joining us at Co-Side Poetry and for helping to keep the lamps of poetry burning.